What's up, guys? Welcome back to your channel. This is Maverick with another episode of Dorohedoro. So last episode, Nikaido got herself into a little bit of trouble now, right? She has been brainwashed into being En's faithful partner, and Kaiman is about to mount a rescue to rescue her, right? And through the process, I do hope that we do get to see Nikaido with her temporal magic, right? Because I am really hyped to see what that is all about. Beyond that, we also have the professor managing to run into Shin and the others, although I'm not too worried about him considering some past history that the professor has, right? Which is kind of important, you know, it was in an episode here. And beyond that, we also got Rizu off doing his own thing, his own investigations. Don't really know if we'll see him together with the gang by the end of this series, but honestly, I'm more expecting him before the end of this series to reveal some big information as to the entire mystery in regards to him and Kaiman. So anyways, let's just get into this episode, and hopefully I can get to see Nikaido fight. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Like I said. Yeah, he saved his life. Oh, come on, he didn't really do anything to you guys yet. Why would you want to kill him? Right? Doctors should be respected, whichever side they are on. And definitely this one, who, you know, does not hesitate to help save sorcerers as well. Does Johnson eventually, like, shrink? I have no idea why he's so small here. I mean, I guess this is just the opening. We don't really need to make much sense of it. Oh, actually, I think No Name is slated to do some live performances of some of the Dorohedoro songs on television, I believe. So maybe maybe in the future someone upload it to YouTube or something. Like I said, I really do feel like they are an underrated musical group. All right. Ooh. Is he going to poison her? Nah, he's just jealous. Seriously, Ed. That is one ugly baby. Really. Kind of a sad childhood. Huh. Really? Huh. So he produced smoke for 9 years? Really? Huh. I wonder how much of this is N's embellishment. Or is this actually his autobiography? Killed everyone there. Yeah, you gotta wonder how these low-level sorcerers were able to abduct all the high-level sorcerers. Huh. So his story is that he wants to get rid of the low-class sorcerers? Ah, the cross-eyes? The boss of the cross-eyes? Really? Hmm. Wow. Seriously. Damn. Oh, look at all this blood. So N shows up at the oh. Oh, and so that caused the thing they were talking about, turning an entire town. Oh, is this actually the first time we see Yeah. Yeah, it's all connected together. Headless man disappearing. Yeah, that was really interesting. Okay, so maybe he did do some embellishments. Huh. Wait, she actually uh huh. So she's not completely brainwashed, is she? He's like so done with this. Mappa. Oh, so she really just wants to prove to. She just wants to prove to him that she can stand on her own. Of course, Kaiman is caught up in another sort of side quest, side story. He's just gonna be selling pies this entire episode, isn't he? Yeah. Okay, a day passed. うん。And there's what's his name? Asu? Wait, what? They are. She definitely did put something in there, didn't she? Yep. So it only works on guys? Huh? You would think that in a society of sorcerers, something like this would be easily countered. Microwave. Angel. Huh. Just go, Kaiman! And in this outfit too. Mm. That sounds good. Oh. So what happens then? Oh, instantly? All completely according to plan. Just like that. Alright, what about Nikaido and Kaiman? I can't believe they... Okay, so she is still controlled to a certain extent, but not in a case where she's completely oblivious of her past. Huh. Alright, interesting, interesting. Alright, again, I'll go read the chapter in the manga, and I'll see you guys right after this. Alrighty, so let's talk about this episode, right? I went through the manga, but there was actually not that much that differed from the anime and the manga here. There was an extra sort of chapter which talked about how Nikaido got her gyoza shop in the first place, but we'll not go into that, right? It doesn't really have any relevance to the story, and if it's actually going to be adapted later on, I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys. The other part was there was a lot more screen time, I guess you could say, for Asuka, the female character that made an appearance this episode. And really not much happened there. I feel like the only thing that it really helped establish more was the fact that Asuka really likes Tamba, right? And she's really feeling jealous of Paimon. But I think even that is pretty much self-apparent within the episode as well, so I don't really consider this a spoiler, right? Now, what I'm getting from this is that she really has genuine feelings for Tamba, but Tamba is not reciprocating her affection, and perhaps might be something to do with Asuka herself, might be because Tamba is really only focused on his business and meat pies and whatnot, but I do think this Asuka character, instead of being nefarious, it seems more like she's just trying to one-up Tamba in order to prove something, right? Like, for instance, be like, I can also cook, recognize my cooking talent, something like that, basically making Tamba look at her again without her using her sort of magic, right? So there might be another small love story in this just yet. So definitely that's, like I said, in the manga they made it much more apparent, but I feel like you can also sufficiently get that within the episode itself as well. And yeah, the entire sort of pie contest or whatnot, it was kind of interesting to see Tanba basically being like, yeah, no problems, I got it, don't panic, we'll just wait until her magic runs out and then go from there, right? So nice to see someone who knows what he's doing, but that's basically it, right? It is just a sort of gag, a comedy gag within the actually rather interesting backstory that we got this episode, right? So let's talk about that. En's backstory. So again, in the manga, there wasn't really anything changed from what we see in the anime, so pretty much the same. I feel like the biggest takeaways from here is, number one, En's power, right? So we've already seen En use his magic, and we've heard of him turning an entire town into mushrooms before, but you gotta admit, like, this dude's magic is really on a whole nother scale from the magic that, for instance, Shin or Noi uses, right? Like, it's ridiculous, and it's ridiculous in both ways. Both in the absurdity of what it actually is, right? It's just literally making everything into mushrooms, and also absurd in the way of its power, right? I think it's suffice to say that his magic is probably the strongest that we've seen so far with all these different sorcerers and whatnot. And even his confrontation with the cross-eyed ended him with only getting a slight cut to his neck, right? And so he came out of it relatively unscathed. So definitely a huge threat with his power. Also, the cross-eyed, I'm going to venture and guess and say that that's probably the cross-eyed boss that we were talking about before. Although maybe he only became the cross-eyed boss later on. He is definitely a force to be reckoned with as well, right? Being able to take on Shin and Noi no problem, and getting the full brunt of En's power, and yet still walking away alive, right? That is definitely someone not to be trifled with as well. And this actually brings up an interesting question, and that is why En was never, why didn't he really react much? Or even Shin and Noi, right? Why didn't they really react much when they heard that another guy with cross-eyed was running around again? Although I guess, to be fair, the cross-eyed had always existed within within the sorcerer's world as well, and they did try to take care of the situation in their own way, right? I'm just feeling that if this was truly the case, then maybe they would have had much more bigger reactions towards the cross-eyes, towards Kaiman, towards Risu, etc., etc. So it does lead me to wonder whether or not the offer actually, I can't speak today, the offer really made this up on the go, or did the offer actually plan this entirely out, right? Because it's entirely possible that the offer just simply decided to go a certain direction, and then that sort of explains the lack of reactions from En and Shin and Noi from the earlier chapters. So yeah, and we also get to see a little bit of En's personality. We can see that, yeah, he is, at its core, he really can't be said as a bad guy, right? Sure, he uses violence, but then again, who doesn't in this series, right? That's just a rule of this world, and apparently he is doing it for, his sense of justice, right? He despises these, these low-class sorcerers. He despises these criminals. He wants to get rid of them. And, if he can also protect his family and strengthen his family and his own power and ambitions in the meantime, so be it. And we can see that, really, all his ambition actually is just to, he enjoys the spotlight, let's just say, right? He wants to be a celebrity of some sort, and that's really about it. He doesn't really have some nefarious take over the world kind of plan. So yeah, that's why he's also part of the protagonist group, I guess you could say. Both him and him and Shin and Noi and all the other members of his family are, in a sense, considered the protagonists as well, not the antagonists. So yeah, and then obviously, the million-dollar question here: how is Kaiman related to all of this? And Nikaido has already, basically gave a hint there. Yeah, it sounds very eerily similar to when she first met Kaiman, right? So that headless body that she saw back then is probably the same as the cross-eyed that En and Shin and Noi were fighting against. With that being said, it really, my crazy idea right now is that Kaiman's, his body is actually that of the cross-eyed in some way. I I have no clue whether this is true or not. And I was actually also thinking whether or not the cross-eyed boss was the one who killed Risu in the first place, right? Because we know that it was a cross-eyed who killed him. It's just unclear who it actually was. But then, you know, the rest of stuff doesn't really make much sense. Why is then Risu inside Kaiman / this body that's able to regenerate itself, and so on and so forth, right? So, hard to say. Really hard to say right now. Heck, the cross-eyes might even just be a concept. It might not be a specific person. Maybe it's just something that, you know, a manifestation of smoke or I don't know, negative emotions or something magical like that, right? And not something that we actually expect. But yeah, lots of speculation that we can do, but probably all for naught and not really going to be explained in the next episode. But yeah, definitely enjoyed the backstory that was told in this one. So, in the end here, we got the situation with Nikaido, right? So apparently she is not, like, completely brainwashed. She still retains memories of old and whatnot. Or she could just be acting right now. That's also a possibility. But I think she's actually, she's actually sort of brainwashed to a certain extent, right? I guess hypnotized might be a better word because she still retains her normal, knowledge and memories. And so I guess it all comes down to next episode whether or not Kaiman is going to be able to reach through to Nikaido, and that will be that, right? We only have one episode left. I really don't know how exactly they're going to end it. Obviously, we're not going to be ending the entire work or series, but even, you know, even just for what we have right now, is Kaiman going to be able to get Nikaido to snap out of it in the next episode, and then how exactly do they end on a high note, right? I am very curious about all this. But yeah, that's basically it for episode 11 of Dorohedoro. Can't wait until the finale next week, and hopefully we either get a season 2 announcement, or if not, then I can finally continue to binge read the Dorohedoro manga. So, that's that. I will see you guys next week as well, and bye-bye.